Hey everybody, welcome to Obsessed Garage and glass. It's a topic that I get questioned often. How is it that your glass always looks so clean? And my question to you is, well, why isn't your glass clean? Especially when you have a Tesla that has a third of the darn car covered in glass. I figured this was a good muse for this video. I've never put a product in the store without actually trying it. So we're gonna answer the question, how do you keep your glass clean? And we're also going to answer, is this product going to be an added tool to our tool belt? Can it improve our process? One of the biggest problems with glass, and you can't see this, but if you were to look at it under a microscope, it's rather porous. And so it tends to grab and hold onto things. Contamination tends to embed itself. That's what really affects your wiper's ability to wipe clean the glass. It affects the ability for your sealant or whatever product you put on the glass to do its job and to last. And so we really need to do this in order to get the glass clean, and the coatings and the sealants and the things you put on top are just kind of it's the final step. But all the process of using things like Review to polish and protect the surface is really the most important part to get your glass looking good. You do that, you clean the inside really well, and you end up with just a better user experience when you're sitting in the car, because this is what we're using to look outside and see the world. This just makes the maintenance, taking care of the glass, so much easier in the future. All right, so before I show you this, I want to explain a couple of things to you. My intention is not to confuse, but to at least educate you on what's going to happen, what I think you're going to see based on what I know about Review. When I have glass is porous. There's embedded contamination. Even after I've clay barred it and iron removed it, I want to get that last stubborn stuff off the surface. So if I were to spray some water onto the surface, I'm going to end up with neither hydrophobic nor hydrophilic. After Review, what Review is going to do is basically plow the surface of any contaminants. And so what I'm expecting to see is a hydrophilic surface. The difference between hydrophobic and hydrophilic, you get sheeting. So the water will tend to stay bonded to itself and run off the surface. A hydrophobic surface means that I'll have little embedded pieces of silicon dioxide in the surface. In theory, a hydrophilic coating would be superior, especially if it really rejected water off the surface. The problem is nobody wants hydrophilic because it doesn't look as fun. It's not as exciting. The reason why you would want it to be hydrophilic on your painted surface is those little beads of water after it rains turn into a magnifying glass and can oftentimes tend to etch or get water spots. But unfortunately for all of us, hydrophobic has been the tendency. So I'm going to show you the difference between hydrophobic as we go through the steps of getting the glass ready. All right, so here's what I need to do this project. Tape, you want to tape off any black plastic trim. In my case, I'm going to tape off the exterior, any painted surface, because my coating's already done on the car. Normally I would do glass before this, but just the way it worked out timing wise, I ended up taping the painted surface, but you want some tape. Then I'm going to need a product to polish, and so this is where we're going to test out the new Review from Bilt Hamber. This is in stock, available, ready to go. You can get it from us, obsessedgarage.com. Our national partner that carries this as well is Detailed Image. Eventually you're going to be able to get it from bilthamber.com here in the US, and we'll ship it to you. But Review is the polish we're going to use. And I'm going to try out a couple of different pads. This is a rayon pad from CarPro, very stiff. I'm probably not going to like this, but I want to try it. And then I'm going to use the blue, which is the most aggressive microfiber cutting pad, the coarse pad. I'm going to be using a machine. So I'm using the A4500 from Liquid Elements. This is a battery-powered polisher. And then for the tighter areas, I'm going to use my beloved Mirka, the 12mm A-ROP. I'm also going to need some towels, and so I have some lower pile polish removal towels to remove the polish, and then a couple of waffle weave towels to use probably one of the greatest detailing products ever to exist. Bilt Hamber Traceless. So after Review, I'm assuming I'm going to follow with Traceless to prep the surface in order to accept the coating. And then I'm gonna do two different things or two different types of products. Normally I would use Wolf's Nano Glass Sealant, which you can get on obsessedgarage.com. I wanted to try something new on the surface of this. So this is Angel Wax Exodus. It's not new to the market, but new to me. So I wanted to try something different on the windshield. And then on the rest of the glass, you've seen me do this a lot, I'm gonna use Crystal Serum Light topped with XOV5. The difference between the side and back glass and roof glass than the windshield is wiper blades. And so I tend to always use a different coating on the windshield than I do on the rest. A couple little other ancillary products. I've got a Rupes claw tool to butter my pads. I've got some, this is microfiber, auto fibers, suede or microfiber applicator. I've got a Amazon pipette, and then a couple of other products I'll mention that we'll probably use in the future on this car. This is something that we're working on bringing to the US possibly. This is a eco-friendly, environmentally safe glass cleaner that from Liquid Elements I'm probably not supposed to talk about yet, but that might be coming at some point in the future. And then CarPro Clarify Phobic, this is what I'll use to top my windshield after it's washed, kind of use it as a drying aid in the future. So let's jump in and get working on this project. Okay, so I could put this on two different ways. I could do this by hand, but if you have a machine, I can't see why I would want to do it any other way than by machine. But we're gonna find out here. So I have a Rupes blue, their stiffest, most aggressive microfiber cutting pad. I'm gonna test that versus a CarPro rayon pad. These are designed specifically for glass polishing. They're much, much coarser. And I want to try the two and see which one works better. I need to figure out how much polish to use on the pad. So anytime you use something for the first time, I'm going to go with my normal process of how I normally would do it and then kind of see how it works. So I would think, let's prime the pad like we normally would. Solid even coverage, and then I think I'll try 2 size dots like normal, and we'll see how it performs. One of the problems with most glass polishes I've ever used is that they tend to dry out really, really quickly. The product states that you could let this sit and then you can still, you could still get it off the surface. Notice my pad's pretty gummed up there pretty quickly. So I would want to treat, I think, smaller sections like this on my microfiber pad. Let's see how the wipe off is. Oh yeah, that's really nice. Man, that wipes off great. That to me alone makes it worth its weight in gold. It wipes off just like any other polish. Even if I used something like Sonax Cut Max, which isn't designed for glass, doesn't wipe off that cleanly. Beautiful. All right, let's try a different section with a rayon pad and see which one I like better. You can already tell microfiber is going to be better. So this is an extremely stiff, coarse pad that's designed for glass polishing. Now remember, this is a glass cleaning agent, not so much a corrector. We're not correcting the glass, we're deep cleaning the glass. If you try to correct glass, I mean, you're talking about hours and hours and hours worth of work with a really aggressive polish. Working time is really good with this. I mean, look at that. It's still moist. It's not drying up. Even with a crappy rayon pad, developed a little bit of heat, but it's way better than I'd hoped. But look at that wipe off. That's great. Holy cow. That's fantastic. All right, let me do the last section of this and let's see how our water behaves after the fact. hammer down. So it does gum up the microfiber pretty quickly, but that's no big deal. It is loading up my towels quite a bit more than a normal polish would, but I'll take any of that for this. I cannot explain to you how good that is. If you've ever polished glass, you know how much of a pain in the butt it is to deal with, especially if you've ever used a dedicated glass polish. It's like a nightmare to get it off. Okay, now the logical step would be to use traceless to make it clean. You should follow with traceless, no matter what. Waffle weave microfiber towel. Watch this. You can already hear it with the towel. Look, the towel's not dragging. So now, theoretically, the water should sheet. Notice the water's already behaving differently before it beat it up. Let's go stream. Oh wow, look at that. That's the definition of sheeting. Look at the difference over here. See how it grabs, it's holding on, grabbing, and then you got little bubbles. We have essentially no bubbles here at all. So what that tells us is that there's nothing on the surface. The surface is totally clean. Over here, there's still embedded contaminants. Even though it's new, it's been clay barred, there's some embedded contaminants still in the paint, which is causing the water to stop and grab. And so the water beating, those little droplets are what's left over. Now, I still don't want the water parked on the surface, so I want to coat it. I want to get the benefit of both the super clean glass and protected. All right, so the next step in the process is to coat the window. So we decontaminated it, we iron removed it, then decontaminated it with the clay scrubber. Then we cleaned with a isopropyl alcohol solution like Carpro Eraser. Then I just polished it with Review. So all that preparation work in order to accept some sort of coating. My go-to coating is Wolf's Nano Glass Sealant on the windshield, and then to do G-Technic CSL EXO on the other windows. But I'm going to try something new here today. This is called Angel Wax Exodus, which is they say a 2-year glass coating. I don't buy that, but we're going to try this out just to see if it's any good. It seems to me, I just looked at the instructions, the application process is the same as any other coating. I'm going to put it on, let it sit for a minute or two, wipe it off, and I want to see how this does. Wolf's, this is the only way that you can get me to do something different, is that I don't have any here. I used the last of it on the, I think on the Evo or something here recently. I forgot to grab another bottle. But the Wolf stuff is awesome. I bring it in from Romania. It cost me a fortune to get it here. And I just keep coming back to it. But on the side windows, I like to do CSL EXO. For this windshield, I do want to try something a little different just for fun, because I don't have what I need here anyway, so this will work out great. Okay. I want this coated just like I want the paint coated. I don't want my glass to show, water spots and contamination. I want my wiper blades to glide. And this is where it can be problematic. Some glass coatings, especially older ones, you get lots of wiper judder. I'm hoping that this one, I'm pretty much guaranteeing this one won't have that. But but I want my glass, especially around the perimeters. I don't like that little water spotty. It just makes your car feel, especially if you wash your car often like I do, it makes it feel dirty. It makes it feel unkempt. Doesn't make it feel obsessed. Wait till you see water's gonna go crazy. And I'll put a second coat on after so I don't ruin it. Because you really should let this sit for a day or so before you get water on it. But in the interest of entertainment, I'm gonna mess it up. All right, so I don't know what's gonna happen. We're gonna find out here. Well, let's see what happens when we... So notice now we've got beading, right? Water beads. And then if you're driving down the highway, as you're getting extra water, they'll generally shoot off the surface. If we do some heavy rain, and on glass, this is what we're looking for. And then if we somehow drive through a giant deluge, then this is kind of dumb to do this, but so there's the combination of beading and sheeting. Water repellency. So this is a preference thing. I want the water to behave differently on my side glass than my windshield. If you've seen the photos or you've seen the videos of, you're driving and the water's just shooting off. The problem with a lot of those coatings in my experience has been when water behaves like that, I have to give something up. And what I'm giving up is my wiper behavior. On my side glass, the roof, the rear glass, the side windows, that time in the morning when your windows are all fogged up and you're trying to see, you're at the stop sign, you're trying to see left to right, you have to put your windows down. Well, here is where I want water to really behave aggressively. That's why I'm going to use the same coating that I use on the paint. The other advantage is when I use that coating on the glass, it tends to last just as long as it does on the rest of the car, so I can get a year or two out of the traditional coating on the side glass, and then I just treat my windshield a little bit differently because of the behavior difference I'm looking for. So my conclusion here is that this review product is a supreme glass polish. I've never experienced anything like it. Polishing glass is always a bit annoying. The wipe off was my favorite part of the whole thing. The polishing part seemed to be pretty standard, did a good job, there was a little bit of water etching still from the factory on the surface of the glass that I was able to remove. I think it would do just fine on more aggressive. I'll follow up with some more videos on more aggressively etched glass in the future. But even on this new car, it needed it and really sort of transformed the look of the glass. The need to coat afterwards, I think, is important. I would still always want to follow with a coating, and to me, Wolf's is probably still the standard for me on the windshield, CSL XO on the rest of the glass. So to answer the question of the video, why does your glass not stay clean? It's because you're lazy and you suck. No, I'm just kidding. It's because yes, we can get it to be clean, but we do need to go through this process. If we want it to stay clean and answer that question, why is yours not or why is mine not? It's largely because you need great products like this and you need to go through the process. Prep, cleaning, coating, regular maintenance, and your glass will stay nice for longer, but you're still gonna need to do this again every couple of years. So spend the time up front so you can spend less time chasing and answering the question, and why is my glass always dirty? You should never have to ask that. If you go through this process, you're gonna get a lot more longevity between your questioning yourself on why I can't keep my glass clean. So I hope this helped. Go to obsessedgarage.com. I would highly urge you, get some review. You can do it with a machine, you can do it by hand if you don't have a machine. It will change the look and feel and will change how your glass looks in the future.